All right, what is going on, guys? gdoggcasey here, bringing you the start of a new series. This game is called Hearts of Iron 4. I am currently playing on the latest expansion, which is called Waking the Tiger. This came out a little while ago. There is a new expansion coming out within the next, I don't know if it's a few months or the next year or something. This game is made by Paradox, and Paradox has some very interesting games out there. And there's a chance that we might be seeing more Paradox stuff on the channel in the future, potentially, depending on how well this goes. Speaking of this, it's been a long time since I've recorded a series. Actually, it's been a long time since I've recorded anything. This is the first video I'm recording since taking a very long break from YouTube and Twitch. Mostly just to get my life back in order and just, you know, take a break because I was giving myself a really heavy workload. And as what always happens, after a significant time away from recording, I started to get the itch again. I started thinking about it. I've set up a little plan that should be maintainable, and we'll be getting into that. But that stuff is going to be covered in a different video, so I don't want to cover it too much here. There will be an update video on my channel if you care more about that stuff. For episode 1 of Hearts of Iron, I need to explain a couple things. First, I am very new at this game. I actually just bought it like a week ago, and I started watching videos about it a little bit before that, and I was really intrigued. For some reason, as I grow older, I have become more interested in new topics and new things, and in this case, it's an old thing. It's World War I and II, although this game focuses mostly about World War II. I've just been dedicating a lot of free time towards learning about it, because I knew nothing about it. I still am in the middle of doing this, so I still don't know half as much as I probably should to be publicly playing this game, but it's kind of the point. This is going to be a noob playthrough, and it's, you know, it's going to reflect that. My gameplay is going to reflect that. I have watched a few videos and tutorials on YouTube, found a couple channels that I really like that I should have had up. I should have remembered their names so I can tell you right now, but I'll just tell you. The one guy on YouTube named Praetorian Hijinks has some really good Hearts of Iron videos on YouTube that I think that if you're looking to learn this game, my recommendation is to go watch him. Someone else you can watch, Quill18, plays all sorts of strategy games and is generally well-loved and well-liked in the community and is really good at those games too. So Quill18 and Praetorian Hijinks are the two people I would be watching over me for Hearts of Iron 4, unless you're specifically interested in watching a new player figure the game out and have fun with it and basically learn all the history, because, you know, we're going to be playing on a historical run in this one, and just learning more about the geography around Europe and all that is going to be fun. We will make mistakes. In fact, we will probably actually lose, because I am playing at, you see I got a Game as Canada going here, but I'm going to start a new game. We're going to be playing 1st of January 1936, and we're going to be playing as Germany for a couple reasons. Mostly, well, one main reason is because there's going to be a lot of action early on. It's going to be an interesting playthrough, and apparently Germany is good for noobs, although I beg to differ on that one a little bit, because they have a lot kind of going on, in my opinion, early on to manage, but we're going to try our best to manage. We're going to be playing on normal difficulty for the first time. I always play on recruit behind the scenes, and even then I still make some pretty major mistakes, but I don't want to put out anything below normal on YouTube. So we're going to try, and we're going to see how it goes. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at our nation here, or our country. Obviously, we're controlling Adolf Hitler. He is fascist under the totalitarian regime. Never going to have elections, and I guess our ruling party is the NSDAP, which there's a blurb about them right there. And there's a brief history. We have a couple things like traits that we have to deal with. I think as fascist, this allows us a bitter loser, so we can create factions, we can have better division organization and planning speed, and all this stuff as well. Construction speed for all of these things is going to be very, very good. So that's pretty cool. Next, we have the Anschluss. These are just, I think these are national focuses that we can take. National focuses, not national. And we'll get more into that later. But let's go ahead and select the country. We're going to be playing on regular. We are going to be playing on Iron Man mode, because I'm an Iron Man and that's what I do. and historical AI focus on for now, because again, I want the historical things to happen so I can just get a better feel of it, and just, you know, see how the world plays out normally with our influence, you know, affecting it in any way we can. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the first game here. Okay, so here we sit as Germany. We zoom out, we can see we got the German Reich here, Poland on our east, France on our west, as well as Belgium and the Netherlands, Italy south of us with Austria and Switzerland. And yeah, we're Germany. And it is January 1st, 1936. And the only thing we know for sure is that war will break out. When you're playing as any country in this game, you know that war is going to break out. So it's really all about preparing for that. And first, in order to prepare, we have to deal with our notifications up here telling us what to do. So for research, it's generally agreed upon. You got all these different tabs of research that you can go into. Airplanes, naval, mostly land-based stuff over here. And then we have engineering and industry on the right side. And in general, and this is the philosophy that I'm taking, is before the war starts, you want to use this time to pump up your infrastructure, pump up your economy, and get yourself prepared for the future when you're not already in a war. So, and even if you are in a war, some of these things are just, you need them. For instance, production here, basic machine tools helps our production efficiency, which you want to get that as early as possible. The earlier we can get efficient, the better, because then the more we will be able to take advantage of that. Same thing for this one here, construction 1. It gives us construction speed plus 10% on our factories. So we want that early. We're going to be building factories early, and we're going to be building stuff pretty much the whole game. So the faster we can get this, the better. For the third slot, we generally go to engineering, and we take electronic mechanical engineering, which helps our research time. And this is for the exact same reasons as the other two. The earlier we get faster research time, the earlier we take advantage, the more we'll be able to get out of that. So we want to do that as early as possible. And then generally the fourth one is the one where you can sort of pick what you think you want. And I think that I will be going for these guys here. It's a 1918 research that we absolutely need. So we will grab this. It's basically just going to sort of slightly buff up pretty much all of our divisions of army units. So it'll help in different ways, and we just want to grab that first. I think it'll probably be the best thing. Even if we're not going for a war super fast, I still think it's going to be pretty good. So yeah, that's what we are choosing to go with here for our research slots, and we'll move on. Next up is the production. So the production, which by the way, all these notifications up here, when you click on them, they bring you to different pages. Most of these pages are just right here. So we have decision page, the research page, diplomacy page, the trade page, the construction, the production, and the recruit and deploy, as well as the logistics are all here. And this is where you're going to get most of your information, and where I will be getting most of my information. So we're going to start off with production. It basically means our civilian factories are not working right now. We need to put them to work. And early on in the game, it's generally a good idea to get more civilian factories. The civilian factories build everything that's not built by the military factory, which is pretty much everything that is not war related. So they help build civilian factories. They help build military factories. They help build all of this stuff here. And then military factories pump out the production, which we'll get into. But for civilian, we want to start by upgrading we're getting more civilian factories on provinces that have higher infrastructure because they will build faster. So something like over here, we can build a couple there. We can build a couple here too, and 70 even over here. Like, we're building a bunch here because we want to have a lot of civilian factories. Here's a 80% over here. It's pretty good. And even the 60% will get a couple there because we have a lot of free slots. We're not going to go too crazy. I think this will be good to start with, as we already have 31. And I read in a guide that 45 is a general good number to go for. So we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. not quite 45, but almost there. So we'll throw another one in here just for fun. Okay, so there is civilian factories. Now they are queued up and they're going to start working. It's going to take a long time for them all to finish. So we're basically done with construction for now. For quite a while, we just want these to finish up. And then everything else we build in here will build faster because of the fact that we've built all these. So hopefully that makes sense. Trust me, I barely understand it as well. So don't worry too much. If, by the way, you are a Hearts of Iron 4 expert and you are enjoying this and you want to be a helpful viewer, by all means, I don't mind if you want to backseat your ass off. Give me as many tips as you want. I will try my best to learn them. I'm looking forward to getting good at this game, hopefully. All right, so we were talking about military factories and production. Well, this is what that all is. And when you start off as Germany, everything is sort of set here already in a specific way. And we need to decide, is this something that we are happy with? Basically, we have 28 total factories. We have 20 that have been assigned so far. And then we have naval dockyards, which are specifically for the Navy. But they're basically military factories for naval units only. And we can see them down here, and there's dockyards assigned to them. So we have all this stuff here. We basically want to figure out what's our best way of using our military factories to produce the units that we need for what we want to do. And it sounds simple when you say it like that, but it can get pretty confusing pretty quickly. Okay, so now that I look at it, I'm going to take a second here. This is going to be an edited series, and I'm going to edit out the long, boring bits of me just sitting here humming and hawing and being a huge noob. So I'm going to sit here for a second, and I'm going to try to figure out the best way I want this set up, and then I'll explain what I came up with. Okay. So to do that, by the way, I'm just looking here at my logistics to see what I already have. And if I'm low on anything in particular, which looks like I'm not necessarily... This is the stockpile or stored. So yeah, I've got 59 extra guns. That's nothing. So we're basically right even with everything, except maybe convoys that we have a bunch of. Okay, so with that in mind, let's figure out what to do here. Okay, so I sat here for a bit. I've been looking at this production line, and I guess for now... this is going to be okay. I'm maxing out my infantry equipment because we just want to pump out as many guns as possible. Even when you're stockpiling them, they will be there and ready either to be distributed to your divisions that need them, or for new units or new divisions that you train, they can just go pick them all up. So stockpiling the units or the equipment isn't a terrible idea. So we're going to be doing that early on. The support equipment is going to be pretty important as well. It's the same sort of thing. The way I understand it, most units will be using support equipment. In fact, pretty much all of them will be. So we kind of want to start stockpiling them. This might go up even more in the future if I realize this isn't enough. Same thing for artillery. Now we can see here these two factories are grayed out. It's because I don't actually have the amount of factories available that I assigned here. So once we get more factories, they will autofill. So the first few factories we get are going to autofill, and we will then, they'll be auto-filled, like I'm saying. And then once we are done with autofilling, then they'll pop up here and get us to assign them once they're ready. So as far as artillery, we're going to be using quite a bit of that in our divisions. From what I've learned from reading around and watching around, putting artillery in your main division seems like a smart idea. So we're going to be doing that when we can. The tanks, Germany uses a lot of tanks. Light tanks are apparently okay, as far as I know, but it's the only thing we can actually make right now. If we click on tanks and we see, oh, we actually do have the option for a heavy tank as well, but the heavy tanks are not supposed to be super good. My understanding is you want to go for medium tanks, and that's what I'm going to try mostly at the beginning. We will make some light tanks, though, because we want to at least have something. But eventually I'm probably going to switch into mostly medium tanks and then maybe some heavies if I learn later on that they're good. That's the idea for now. Motorized are required to go with the light tank division. If we look at our division, we can see that they have motorized with them. There's a whole reason for that we will talk about as it becomes a little bit more relevant, but we don't care too much about them, so we have one factory. Same thing with the planes here. One factory on each is the decision I made because my goal is to eventually research more of these planes, and I feel like I should you know, not spend too much focus on these expensive units now when I can wait to upgrade to a better kit of some sort. Well, hold on, because it seems like we're in a pretty good... I don't think everybody starts with these planes researched already. So maybe since these are already researched, that's a good idea to pump them up a little bit more. So the fighters are going to be important, and so are the close air support units. And both of them, as we've just seen, are already researched for 1936. And we don't get an upgrade until 1940, so for 4 years, we're not going to not make any planes. So we'll focus on the HE-111s and the BF-109s. And I think that is a good idea. So let's go back to production. BF-109s. The close air support. Oh yeah, okay, what are they? The JU-87s. So this is me noobing around, by the way. This is me just trying to learn what are we talking about. Okay, so they're still a pretty decent... They're pretty modern, so we can make them. And close air support is something that at least I have a initial idea of how to use them, so I'm going to make them. Bombers, less so, and even fighters, less so, but I have learned that they're important. So these will start to fill up as we go, and this is sort of just pre-assigning them to fill up, but maybe I should not do that in case I change my mind later. All right, so this is our production line to start with, and if you're super new as well or never played this game, you can click on these different buttons here to add different things to the queue, and then over here for ships, obviously. And there's a lot here, so it's, you know, it's no shit that I struggle over this stuff, but that's okay. All right, we're done with production. We've barely even played this game yet. Let's move on to the next thing, which is the national focus. And this is probably my favorite part of this game, just because so many different countries have different national focus trees, and I think that's really cool. Imagine if you're playing Civilization 6, but all the civs have different tech trees. That's kind of the idea here. Although in Civilization 6, the research tree would be the same thing as everything you would get from here. So every nation has this same research tree, which is kind of the same as what it is in Civ 6, but the national focus is just one extra tree for each nation to have. And there's so much stuff here, and this is very important to know where you want to go with this. So once again, I'm going to sort of just edit this part out while I go over this tree and figure out what I want to do. Okay. All right. So after looking at this for a while, I think I decided what I want to do. And I don't know if this is generally the right way to play Germany, because I think most times people will focus over here and start trying to start a war very early. If you come to the Rhineland, you unlock things where you can basically like spit in the face of the Soviet Union or spit in the face of Austria and Poland, and essentially like start demanding territory or, you know, pissing off the Russians or whatever. And all this kind of stuff is basically war stuff, which we will be doing. But after looking at the 4-year plan over here, this is like this entire thing is held under the 4-year plan. It's just building up infrastructure. Everything here seems like a good idea to start with, in my opinion, for somebody who wants to win the war. Like, it seems like a good idea. We're getting civilian factory infrastructure and refinery construction speed, which is good. Down here, we're getting more infrastructure. Over here, we're getting excavation and more military and dockyard construction speed. Over here, we're getting defensive stuff. West Wall gives us forts all along France's border. And then here we have like naval forts, I think, coastal forts, and even more forts over here. I think, hold on, gains national spirit, Ostwell construction, which grants land fort construction speed bonus and places land forts along the Dnieper River to the Baltic, which I don't even know where that is, but it's just forts everywhere. So maybe we would get this kind of last. Or if quicker if we feel like we might be attacked, which we shouldn't if we focus on this. The only thing is one of these pieces, which I think it was Rhineland, yeah. So in Rhineland, or in Westwall, sorry, if the Rhineland is rematerialized, you get extra forts in the Rhineland, which we would need this in order to take advantage of that. So I'm guessing what we'll do is probably start with the 4-year plan, go down here and get a lot of this, like over here is the infrastructure stuff, all sorts of synthetic resources, infrastructure here, add maximum infrastructure, that's a really good one. All these extra civilian factories, like all over the place, extra or more synthetic refinery stuff, research slot down here, all very good. And then we start to feel like we're getting closer to war times. We can align Hungary and Romania and start turning them fascist, which we might want to do this earlier. I don't know. And we'll have to pick one of these two, and then essentially we can integrate all of our economies and have like a big ally system, I guess, is the idea. Or we can make sure we're good for ourselves and just get more military factories for us, which we might do. And then defensive stuff. And then after that, we can come over to the Rhineland and, you know, or maybe we'll get the Rhineland part earlier, but then we will wait for this stuff and we'll decide again. We'll decide which way do we want to go in the war. Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Slovakia, all this other stuff. Like, this is huge. I haven't really looked too far into this one, mostly because I think I just made up my decision about coming and starting on the 4-year plan. We also have air innovations and army innovations, which are a little bit more basic, just like buffs for what you would expect. Air buffs here, army buffs here, extra experience. We also can do a treaty with the USSR, which gives us... there's a treaty which gives us some stuff. I think maybe we'll do that. I don't really know. And then naval stuff here. A lot of other things. There's tons. And then we have this one way over here, oppose Hitler, which we would have to choose right away. And basically just try to switch Germany's style to be democratic or communist. We can go either one. And then just basically totally alternate history that way. But yeah, anyway, sorry to bore you all with all that. We're going to be coming to this national focus tree very often. We're going to start with the 4-year plan. We need an ambitious plan to provide for the rearmament and ultimate self-sufficiency of the nation. This should be achieved within the next 4 years. So it makes sense to me. Let's do it. So now we got the national focus. And the cool thing, like I said, is that every one of these nations has a national focus that they're all doing. Some of them are a little bit more... what's the word? A little more generic, while others have ones like Canada over here has the whole Canadian thing. And again, they can do the same sort of thing where they shoot for independence very quickly and then put up swastika clubs and join Germany or join the Soviet Union and be communist. Like, you can change the way the world works that way. But we're going to be focusing on Germany. We're going to try to play as historical as possible for our first game. Okay, so we've got that. Next up, no divisions in basic training. So divisions are yet another complication to think about when setting this up, and I'm definitely not an expert on how to explain this. I barely know how it works, if I do at all. But what I do know is that we cannot edit any of these yet because we need to use army experience, which is up here, to change the division template and add things to it and upgrade them. We cannot do that early on. We need to get experience first. So all we can really do is use whatever's given to us, which in this case are these divisions here, which are going to be okay. And we can add extra divisions like this, and we will build the equipment for them and then train them, and then they will join us. I'm going to do just like that, and we're going to keep an eye on what we have going on here, but maybe we will only do 4 divisions for now. And Panzer Division. We cannot edit, but we can see what they are comprised of. They have a little bit of artillery, engineering, and recon. That's actually pretty good in terms of support. Maybe that's why these are good. We're going to add 3 divisions. And we'll just, the location, we'll just put them here so that they will be sort of centralized and they can move wherever we want them once they're done. As far as anything else, a motorized division, like if we look at this, it's just a whole bunch of motorized stuff. I don't necessarily know how much I would want to make these. I can't necessarily figure out what I would use them for. They're faster. They have similar stats, I think, to the infantry, but they're going to cost a lot more supply and use like oil and shit. So I don't necessarily want to make a whole bunch, but maybe I'll just make one. here. And I don't know if I want this on... Yeah, I guess I do want it on infinite. And for these mountain troops, again, they're just made of mountaineers. They have better mobility and stuff. I don't think I necessarily need too many of them, but here, we'll go to Franken, and we'll make one at a time. But we definitely do want a lot of these, and we do not want any cavalry. Cavalry is... the age of cavalry is over, in my opinion, at this point. Okay. So, unassigned divisions now. Now what we want to do is assign all of our divisions to an army. We have them sort of just all over the place. So what we can do is just make a big box. And this is, I think anyway, yeah, this is going to be all of our land forces. And what we want to do is split off the... oh, that's not what I meant to do. Hold on. So we want to split off these guys. Anything that's mobile... We have one cavalry there. Okay, and then the rest of them is all... Yeah, you know what? We'll split off the cavalry too, because that'll probably mess with things. We'll leave the Mountaineer division here, and now we have all normal infantry with one Mountaineer division. We'll right-click here to create an army. It's 25 divisions big, so maybe what we'll do is actually take this out and then create the army without them. I don't know how to do that. I think I have to select this guy, and I don't know how to take him out of the army. So we'll do that later. We'll put him in another army. We want to assign a commander to this army. And the commander will be... I have no idea. Let me sit here and look at the commanders, and we'll pick one. Okay, so I've chosen this guy, Heinz Guderian. I think this guy's actually famous. I don't really know, though. But this is the person we're going to pick. He is also an armor officer, and he has Panzer Leader as well. But I noticed we have a bunch of Panzer Leaders, and this guy just seems really good. So we're going to use him. And what we're going to do is set up a front line all along Poland. Poland is going to be our first target. And everyone in this division is now going to move over there once I unpause the game, which I still haven't done yet, by the way. And it's I've been recording for 36 minutes. The video won't be quite that long because I'm going to edit some parts out. But yeah, so that is all of our armies going to be moving over here on this front. But we will eventually split some units off and give them a new army and put them up along France as well. I think that's probably a good idea, because these are going to be our sort of main enemies. Belgium and the Netherlands don't scare us at all, but the other two kind of do. And I don't even think Poland scares us, but that's just where we're planning on going. So that's going to be set up that way. And we still have this Panzer Division, which, yeah, now we have to find all of our Panzer Divisions. And I think this motorized one as well. And we'll create a new army. And we will assign a Panzer commander to them. And I think this guy is going to do the trick. Nope. Armor officer. But there was... Oh, maybe I actually, like, just used the guy I should have used here. I'm looking for more than just armor officer. There's some that are, like, specifically armor and panzer. But it seems like I gave that guy away, maybe? We have so many. Winter specialist, armor, cautious. We have field marshals down here. Well, whatever. We'll just do this guy then. He's still an armor officer, and he still has other really good stuff about him, so it's fine. Maybe I got a little mix between them, but I don't necessarily know how much that's going to matter. And we're going to keep them... We're going to keep this army just in one spot here, and we'll use them whenever we decide that we need to, you know, move our tanks up. Ah, we got these guys over here as well, unassigned. So once again, we'll have another army with another, maybe a little bit lesser known general, someone with, yeah, let's just give this guy a shot to defend this area, and we'll tell this army to defend this area. They will garrison here, and they will just be defensive over there. And that looks like all of our main units are set up. So, next up, we want to take a look at the resources here. We are insufficient resources. If we click on that, we'll see what we're losing out on. And we also see what resources are available in each country. And this is when you start to get the idea, or you start to understand why would it be good for us to invade other countries. Well, we're using a lot of oil for all the tanks and shit we're making, and planes and everything. So getting more oil is going to be important. Poland's got 5 here, and Czechoslovakia has 3. Austria's got 2, I think, or is that? Yeah. So it's not a ton, but it's kind of good. Romania's got 70 over here. Really good. And whenever we don't have enough resources, our facility or our production is hampered. I don't know if the more you are under by, the more it gets hampered by. I actually don't know that. So I don't know if 1 is just as bad as 14 or if 14 is worse than 4. It's kind of weird how trading works in this game. If we want to get more oil, we can talk to people, and we could choose the US. They have the most oil, but we kind of want to make sure we're making deals with people that we might not be going to war with at some point. So maybe the Soviet Union makes a little bit more sense. And what we do is we trade away the production of a civilian factory for a pack of 8. And that's the same for all of these resources. So one factory, all of its production goes towards the Soviet Union, but we get 8 of their oil. Now, I have conflicting thoughts on whether or not it's a good idea to send out your civilian factories early on to do this in order to not have the penalties. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make the decision. I am going to do the trade because we have 31 civilian factories in use. We can give away 2 for oil, and we can give away 1 for rubber. To who, though? Who are we not going to... Oh, shit. Rubber looks like it's going to be harder to come by because all of these people I think we're eventually going to go to war with. You know what? For now, we'll just start with the Dutch East Indies, and we'll give them 1 for 8 because it'll put us over, and we'll be good. And once we... Yeah, we can see our trade routes now. That's going to take forever. That seems... that seems not worth it. But, I don't know. I think it's going to work, so we'll go ahead and do that. All right, I think we're finally ready to play the game a little bit, guys, and we will play. I mean, in episode 1, I'm shooting for about like 40 minutes to an hour long episodes here, and I think we'll finally be able to play a little bit because we're only going to be getting 1 episode per week, so I want to make them at least somewhat meaty. So I'm going to hit pause, and oh my god, the game is going. The world is moving very slowly. We're going to bump up to speed to 5, actually, or maybe 4. I feel a little bit more comfortable on 4. It doesn't cause as much lag either when it's on 4. And actually, so we can see our front line is being set up here, right? They're moving and they're lining up. And our national focus is getting going. All of our research is getting going. And now that we are moving, we can see the different focuses that our neighbors are taking. Now, I don't know what any of these do, except I've played Italy a little bit, so I know a little bit more of Italy's, but I don't know what anyone else's are. So looking at this stuff isn't going to teach me much, but, you know, just so you know, you can see that stuff. Okay, so what do we want to do while we wait? Well, let's take a look at some things that confuse the hell out of me. Navy. We do have the time going, by the way. We'll pause it when things pop up. So as far as Navy goes, I think all I have to do is click on the Navy button, and it just gives me an overview of all my fleets. Apparently we have 5 fleets. We got this one, which has 1 submarine in it. We have like these other ones here. Well, with 15 submarines in total, we have all these different fleets, and I think, well, all these different ships. 2 battleships, 2 heavy cruisers, 6 light cruisers, 12 destroyers, and 15 submarines. I think the general gist, the simple way of doing it, is to keep our Navy simple and in as little fleets as possible. So what I want to do is find a way to grab all of my entire fleet. So I got all these ships here. I should be able to tell it to just go park over here. Wait, is that the one that I want though? No, not Rostock. This one. If I move them there, they should just move over. And I want to make sure all my fleets are in one spot. So am I missing anyone else now? Navy. The area. No, it looks like they're all in the same spot now. So if I click here, is there a... Yeah, merge the 2 fleets together into 1 fleet, right? So now my 1 fleet has all of my ships. And we don't have a ton, actually. We have what seems to be a pretty small amount considering we're Germany, but maybe we just don't care that much about our navy. So what we want to do is take the submarines, right-click to create a new fleet from this group, submarine. All submarines into a new fleet. Here we go. So our main fleet, by the way, time is still going. Our main fleet, we're going to want a real admiral that is good, not submarine attack because we took the subs out. We want retreat and fleet speed while retreating. That sounds like the opposite of what we want. Leader experience gain, less than 25. Oh, old guard, okay. Number of ships in the first contact. Superior tactician. This sounds very good. Leader experience gain, old guard again, and 2 superior tacticians. Cool. We'll take the level 4 one. And the superior tactician, put him there. He's going to manage our main fleet of these small amounts of ships. And then the second one, we'll give the submarine one to. Seawolf. There we go. He's our submarine commander. Now we'll put the submarine commander in a different base for now, just to keep him split. Or did I just move everybody? I just moved everybody, didn't I? I think I did. So we want this fleet, select, and you go there. There we go. I'll figure this out. I played one game that I went pretty far into. I was playing as Italy, and I thought everything was going swimmingly. I was playing on recruit, so I was like out producing a lot of people, and I was kicking the shit out of Yugoslavia and was ready to kick the hell out of France. And then I realized that I was getting attacked down here by the UK and France. It was a small amount they were attacking, but I only had a couple units here. So I was like, all right, I'll take my big army and I'll just put them here. What I didn't notice at all, even though I probably should have, was that the UK had totally dominated the Mediterranean Sea all around Italy. And they just destroyed all my navy. And when I shipped the 30 divisions of units over to Italy, they all got sunk on the way, and it was like a gigantic massacre. And yeah, I mean, I was actually still doing well over here, but any thoughts of ever leaving the coast was dashed as soon as I realized every time I mouse over my sea, it's just infested with UK ships. So I totally lost all my navy, and it seemed like it was impossible to ever get out of that hole. All right, once again, guys, time is still going. We're about to get our first national focus here, which is going to give us a bunch of boosts to construction and get a new political advisor as well. So that seems pretty good. We'll talk about this stuff as soon as we get enough political power to deal with it. But we're going to finish that 4-year plan very soon here. And we'll pause it right here. And we'll decide now which one do we want next. I don't think the west wall is very important right now. We don't need the forts this minute. The infrastructure construction speed is another thing I'm not sure we need right away because we're not actually constructing infrastructure right now. We're constructing factories, and that's what this is going to help us with. So autarky is going to help us with that. So this is what we're going to take and move us towards more civilian factories. If we look at our construction, you know, we've barely made a dent in it yet because we need a lot more factories, even though we traded a couple away. And we can take a look at the recruit and deploy screen to see what we're waiting on. We're going to have our divisions pumping out soon. They've already got all their equipment, and they are now just training up. These guys are doing a little bit of both. I don't know why I'm making that, to be honest. I really don't. But it's because I think there's a part of me that's telling me I do need them, and I just don't know why. So I'm kind of just trying to be getting them just in case I realize, like, 3 years into the war, I've needed them this whole time. All right, let's go ahead and look at this. You know what? Actually, I'm going to leave that. Never mind. What do we got here? These are our tanks, and yeah, this is our, like, separate. Once we combine this, we'll just merge them in with the other army. But instead, what I was going to cut some off and move them over to France, but I'll actually just move the newly trained divisions over to the France wall. And that should be good. So time is still going. Okay, we haven't looked at our airplanes yet. Let's take a look and see our air. And I'll try not to have a mental meltdown while looking at this stuff, because this is where I start to get a little bit confused. We have a bunch of different air bases. And what I think we should do, honestly. Like, I don't necessarily know why they're not all in one place. So we'll put them all in one place by just moving them like this. Time is still going. That should be every single plane. Oh, we got some over here too. Wait. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, we'll bring them over here too, just to be consistent. Although we might move some back over there if we end up fighting Poland. Hitting from different angles seems like a good idea. No mission assigned to the air wings. Okay. So an air wing, this is something I searched up right before I started recording this. An air wing is like a division of airplanes. So this is an air wing of 120. Apparently, one person I watched said that 200 was a good number. I do not know how to merge air wing. Okay, select 2 or more air wings and merge them. Like that. Merge, 200. It seemed like 200 was good. Okay, so I've paused the game when this research is done. We just finished this, so now our research time is going to be faster. We have the option of going anywhere, really, but we want to get even more research time. 3% more for a 5% total seems pretty good. Okay, unpause, go back to our air and figure this out. So yeah, they're all in the same spot. So we have naval bombers, tactical bombers. Let's merge these 2 tactical bombers together. Oh, and then here. So let me know, guys. This is one thing I really want you guys to let me know if this is a bad idea. But I saw one guy doing it, and it seemed to kind of make sense, so I'm just copying what he's doing without really knowing. I don't know why I would want a smaller air wing or a bigger air wing. I don't really know. I don't know if there's a penalty for going even higher than 200 or not. Let's see. Can we? It's 400. I don't know if it's good to be 400 or if we should split it into 200. But the one guy was doing 200, so that's what I'm doing. We have 80 tactical bombers. We have 80 close air support. We want more of those. Fighters. So our fighters definitely want to be merged. What can I do here? I think I can merge you and you if we're going by the 200 rule. And then you and you can merge together. They're not quite 200. We have transports, and we have naval bombers again. Did I have naval bombers already? No. Okay, well, I guess that's good. So our airplanes, we're going to be using them in different ways, but I'm going to try to sort of keep them focused on where the war is happening. Right now, it doesn't really matter. And shit, I've just let the game go by for a little while without modifying my government, which is actually a mistake. A few points ago, I could have gotten this, and instead I wasted some time. So that was a little bit bad. Generally, it seems like a good idea. As you get political power, you can. It's just another currency you can spend on different things. Mostly on the main German page, you spend political points here to get all sorts of different upgrades, or to change your laws in government, which we're not going to be changing any laws right now, I don't think. We need more war support to change our economy, and I think generally war economy is what you want because you get the most benefit to your factories, but the least with the least penalties against you. But we need to have 50 war support, and right now we only have 30. So we won't touch that right now. We'll go with that later. But we want a political advisor that's going to help us with this one. No. We're not building military factories right now, so who do we want? This one, Captain of Industry. Extra civilian factory, extra construction of infrastructure and refinery. So we want him. He's going to help us right at the beginning because we're still constructing civilian factories, and a lot of them. All right, let's go ahead and unpause, and we will play for a little bit more. Maybe I'll try to play through the first year. These episodes won't generally have like guidelines like that, but I want to do a little bit more. Just in case you're confused, down here we have the different camera modes. We have default map mode, which is the one we'll be in the most. And there's our divisions coming in. So these guys, we're going to create another army. We're going to give them another general. Oof, so many generals. This guy we haven't used yet. He's a war hero, reckless. He's got media personality, which is army reassignment duration. Oh, wow. So he's bad at assigning the army, but he's good at other things, I guess. Strategist, politically connected, reckless, and armor officer. We'll take this guy, I guess. And these guys are going to be focused on... I could probably pass time during this. On the front line here against France. Now, we saw it go red there. That's because there wasn't enough divisions to cover the whole area. But we just got 2 more divisions that all we have to do is select them and right-click either here to add them to the army, and they'll just follow the same order as everyone else's, or we can right-click on their color up here and do it that way too. But as they are finished, we'll notice that the bars for some of these other ones have gone down. See, the training needs to be reset. But we're going to have divisions just sort of coming in, and we'll assign them based on who they are. Are there mountains here? There are some mountains here. So yeah, the mountain guys will join the pink army. Oops. Sorry, I do a lot of zooming in and out. That's probably stuff that I should get a little bit better at. Yeah, and the tanks, I think we're just going to keep them on their own and then almost manually control them. As this war starts up, we'll just sort of push them through and see what we can do with them. Okay, so our big national focus is done here. Autarky, giving us even more civilian factory bonuses and dockyards, and I think military factory too. Yeah, that's there too. As well as 2 50% research bonuses for excavation, which I think we can just bank those and use them later on when we're ready to go into that research, which we are not right now. So which one do we really want? I think this one. It gives us maximum infrastructure to these 4 locations, which are right in the center of Germany. I feel like that's the best. We're going to get the most out of moving supply around, which we haven't talked about at all, as well as building in those regions will be faster because they're just built up better. They're better developed. In fact, they're 100% developed because of this one. Since its inception in 1933, the Reichsautobahn, this is the Autobahn, by the way, which at least I've heard of, project has been a glorious success. The construction efforts have reduced unemployment, and the wide roads stand as a monument to Germany's economic recovery. Much work remains to be done, however. So that'll help us. Again, we can go to the construction screen and infrastructure, and we'll see the infrastructure of these areas. Right now, looks like 3 out of 6. Is that what that means, actually? I don't really know. I think if we build this, we get a better idea. Yeah, this tells us how up to snuff everything is. And it will go up to 100 once we finish that national focus. So let's keep going. So yeah, things look like they're going pretty smooth. We don't have all that much to do right now. Obviously, we're going to be reinforcing our front line against France. We want to see what France is doing. They're reforming their government. We can click here. Why would they want to do that? Because they want to either support the status quo. Okay, so maybe just, yeah, with Britain, they want to go a little harder and focus extra on becoming an ally with Britain. Or they can revise the Versailles Agreement, which is sort of the whole agreement that blocked that they came up with after World War I, and they can revise it. They can support the left, probably to join with communism, I'd imagine. Yeah, join the Comintern down here, so they can go hard left, or they can go hard right and join and go fascist and join. I think yeah, Italy and Germany. So it's kind of neat. They're taking this, meaning they're thinking about going down one of them. Probably the one with Britain, I'd imagine. And we got a couple researches done, so let's go ahead and fill in those slots. Definitely don't want to waste too much time not doing that. And again, early on, we're really focusing on the industry side of things, because the more we get into this now, the stronger and smoother the game will be later when we're trying to do all this other stuff. That's the way I see it anyway. So we can move. Okay, we're not in 1937 yet, so we'll take a penalty if we go into this too early. So we might want to consider something else. Now, this is an interesting split here. You can only go down one side. We can either disperse our industry for 10% bonuses across the board, including production efficiency and conversion. So if we ever want to if we ever want to convert our civilian factories into military or convert some other production into different production, this is good. If you double down on concentrated industry, your actual industry produces better. And this is easier for me to understand, so I get that one. Over here, so we're going to be focusing on concentrated industry and not converting too much stuff, which I think I'm okay with. And we can see our 50% industry boost here that we can use, but anything here that we want? See, radar is going to be pretty good at reinforcing our units, and it's in 1936, so we might just want to go with that. We could also look at some of these other things, Marines, Mountaineers, which we already have, or paratroopers, which we don't have. We can get support companies, and these are what you add to your divisions. So we can go engineers, which help them entrench and gives them extra defense and stuff. Recon allows them to pick proper tactics. Military police help with resistance, I think. Like whenever you take over territory and the local population gets angry, these guys make it easier. Maintenance keeps your tanks up and repaired. Field hospital is really good. We're probably going to want that at some point. But I think it's a little early, anyway, to go into all of this. So what we'll do instead is we'll get a land doctrine. Might as well get started with land doctrine. Now, Germany is already committed to this one, so we can't choose which one we want. We're already committed into here. Mobile warfare. The doctrine is just like another research tree, which just boosts up your, in this case, land units. So we've already got mobile warfare, so our tanks are good. This is why Germany's tanks are good. Next up is delay, which just gives all infantry extra 15% organization and gives them a delay tactic, which they'll use that tactic whenever they see fit. I don't necessarily care too much about what each one does in the doctrine tree. It's really just about getting down to when we can make a choice, and then we choose, and then we go from there. Everything that's on the straight line, we need to get anyway, so we're just going to get it, regardless of what it says it is. Okay, so on pause. Sorry. All right, and we're going to just keep on going. We're getting close there to the end. I think I'm going to call it pretty soon. Might not go to the end of the year. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll just try to... Oh, what's this? Oh, God. Events or decisions time out. Next events and decisions are about to time out. MIFO bills due. 30 days left. So this is something I have no idea what it is. In order to fund our growing military industry and keep this secret from British and French eyes, we have been forced to use a balance sheet entity to route payments in the form of promissory notes. If we do not use our political connections to extend the due dates of these notes, we will be forced to repay them and will no longer receive their benefits. What does that mean? So they're due in 30 days. Effects if not selected within 30 days. Remove the MIFO bills. We lose 20 political power. We gain MIFO bills payment, which grants us consumer good factories 20% for 60 days. If we select it, we issue a 6-month extension of MIFO bills to go into effect upon the due date of the current batch of MIFO bills. The cost of each extension will progressively increase until war breaks out, at which point reliance on MIFO bills is removed and payment is delayed until after the war. So if we select it, we modify MIFO bills. I don't know what this is. I have no idea if we want to select it or not. It seems to me consumer goods factories 20%. So that means that our construction, our civilian factories specifically, more of them will be required for consumer goods. Yeah, minus 5% because of MIFO bills. So if we do not select it, then we lose the political power, which is not a huge deal. It's only 20. And then I guess it means we're making the payment for only 60 days. It's for 2 months. That's not a huge deal. I mean, I guess it's, what, 20% of our factories? I guess that is a big deal. I don't know, guys. You know what? I will not make the decision here. If any of you care about what I choose here, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, at the beginning of the next episode, I'll just pick one, and we'll see what happens. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm really excited to be back and recording again. Hopefully, you enjoyed this episode. And I know I'm a noob. I'm sorry. You know, there's plenty of experts out there that you can watch if you want to. I already noted some of them at the beginning of the video. But if you like to watch a noob figure this game out and have fun with it, that's what this series is going to do for you. And if it goes well, we got a huge list of other factions and countries we can play as and continue on in this game. So that's definitely on the table. Again, thanks so much for watching. Leave a like if you liked it, and we will see you next time.